Good afternoon. My name is Jochai Ben-Avie, as it says on the screen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Connect Humanity, and I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way that 1 in 3 Americans, 120 million folks, don't have access to the internet fast enough to use Zoom. Connect Humanity is a nonprofit impact investment fund that works with low-income, rural, and communities of color to help them get connected to affordable, high-speed internet and can take control of their digital futures. I'm not sure what's going on with these slides. Oh, there we go. So as I was saying, Connect Humanity works with low-income, rural, and communities of color to help them get connected to affordable high-speed internet access and take control of their digital futures. And we do that through a combination of tailored financing, strategic advice, and technical guidance that helps our partners have access to the capital and knowledge they need in order to thrive in a digital economy. We were founded by a group of leaders who looked out at the world at the height of the pandemic and saw half of humanity didn't have internet access, including 42 million Americans who don't have any internet, and said it doesn't have to be this way. Now 4 billion, 120 million, 42 million, it's a lot of big numbers. What does that really mean? It means 1 in 3 kids who can't go to school or to do their homework when they get home. It means folks who can't talk to a doctor or schedule a telehealth visit with a doctor that might be hours drive away. It means folks who can't apply to the 4 out of 5 jobs that are posted online only. Disproportionately, the digital divide impacts low-income, rural, and communities of color, and disproportionately it affects Appalachian communities, who are twice as likely to lack access to the internet. It doesn't have to be this way. And as someone who spent most of my career in tech and telecom issues, I can tell you that those large ISPs that dominate the market have not and will not connect everyone. It is simply not in their business model to do so. And the government can't do it alone either. While the $42 billion that's available right now in BEAD money is objectively a lot of money, even the government itself admits that if all of that money is perfectly spent, at best, 30% of the need in this country will be met. Now, of that $42 billion, Appalachian states will get about $14 billion. In Kentucky, about $1 billion will come this way. But the sobering truth is that already estimates are showing that it will take an additional $7 billion of private capital in order to get the job done for Appalachian communities. And the rules are written in a way that favor these large incumbents, who are the same companies who, by the way, over 40 years of building broadband, have pioneered what we call digital redlining. Let me give you a stat that did not fit on this slide. Between 2014 and 2019, across all the US government programs, we spent about $54 billion, more than BEAD, on trying to connect everyone. And what did we, the taxpayers, get for our money? Overwhelmingly, this went to these large, dominant ISPs. What did we, the taxpayer, get for our money? About a 1% increase in broadband penetration. Meanwhile, millions of families are struggling, and it doesn't have to be this way. So how do we connect everyone? Now I'm going to try this art of moving slides. There we go. Look at that. Connect Humanity works at the intersection of communities in need, ISPs, and funders, investors, because we believe each is critical to achieving digital equity. And I'll talk about each of these in a little bit. Let's start with communities. One of the key things that we're doing is helping as many communities as possible to get every dollar of BEAD and DEA funding that they're eligible for. But of course, the communities most in need are often least prepared to develop the kinds of comprehensive and complex plans that these government funding programs require. And so with the support of the Appalachian Regional Commission and partners like SOAR, we are working with 50 of the least connected communities in Appalachia through our Appalachian Digital Accelerator project to help these communities to develop comprehensive connectivity and digital equity plans. And one of the things that we tell communities when we work them, even before we get to the funding and the financing, which is important, is we ask them a more foundational question. What is the type of relationship that your community wants to have with your ISP? Because that's really going to dictate the rest of the deal and make sure that be the difference in developing effective partnerships that actually unlock broadband builds. Is broadband an essential service? Is it a utility? Or is it a luxury good only for those with the means to pay? Your answer will help determine what an ideal partnership between your community and the ISP should look like. And so let's talk about those ISPs. There's a lot of ISPs out there. We focus on what we call community-focused ISPs. Now, most folks can probably maybe name 3, 4, maybe 5 ISPs, but there are more than 2,800 licensed ISPs in the United States. 60% of those 2,800 ISPs serve about 500 census blocks or fewer. And these small and medium businesses of the ISP market typically grew up in their community to serve their community. And like small businesses in other sectors, is it really that surprising that folks who are grounded in the community better understand the needs of the community, are better able to meet the needs of the community? And if we look around the country, it is these small and medium ISPs who are providing the best service and the fastest speeds at the lowest prices in the country. If you look at the top 10 fastest ISPs in the United States, AT&T is none of them. It is all these kinds of small and medium ISPs. The problem is that many of these community-focused ISPs don't have sufficient access to capital markets. They're too big for philanthropy, they're too small for private equity, they're not really recognizable to community finance, and that's where Connect Humanity's impact investment arm comes in. We're providing a mix of term loans, working capital, and revenue-based financing to these community-focused ISPs, and we take a pretty broad view of what that looks like. That might be a municipal network, might be a public-private partnership, might be a co-op, might be a nonprofit, might be a for-profit ISP that's really grounded in the community. And our investments today speak for themselves. So far, we've put 100,000 low-income residents on the path to getting connected. 100% of those investments went to opportunity zones, 75% went to minority and women-owned businesses. We're tracking a 9.4% portfolio IRR, and I'm especially proud that for every dollar we have invested, we have catalyzed $15 in additional funding from public and private sources for the communities that we work with. Let me give you an example of what one of those deals look like. Macon County, Alabama. Anyone familiar with Macon County? It's got a population of about 9,500 households over about 575 square miles. 82% of the population is black, 28% live below the poverty line, and 40% of households don't have internet access. And what's perhaps even worse than that to me is that for the folks who do have internet, and their speeds suck, I should say, 42% of people who have internet have cut back on paying for food because the price of broadband was so high. Doesn't have to be this way. So in this investment, we invested in the Macon County Economic Development Authority, which had a public-private partnership with an ISP called Point Broadband. It's a $3 million build to build fiber, some of the fastest internet in the country, that will connect nearly 1,400 additional homes, businesses, and community institutions. And as part of that deal, we use our power as a funder and financier to require Point to sign a community benefit agreement, which puts in additional accountability mechanisms and safeguards to ensure that they're actually going to keep rates affordable. They're actually going to build where they say they're going to build, that the community is involved in key decisions, gets access to information. And we're really proud of Point for taking that kind of approach to working with the community. You too can adopt these kind of community benefit agreements. For me, this investment also showcases the power of blended finance, which is a fancy way of bringing together a lot of different types of money, which sometimes has different types of incentives, to make the math work on an investment like this. And so blended finance can involve bringing together public grant dollars, private equity, ISPs putting in their own equity. It can involve financing, municipal debt, in-kind donations like Make Ready work. But by their powers combined, make the math work. Any one investor trying to do this deal, it wouldn't work. The math wouldn't work. In making this deal in Macon County, there were 5 other capital partners. And I don't think it would have worked without all of us participating. And I think that unlocked the funding that's going to be a game-changing investment in Macon County. And it's already bearing fruit. On the basis of fiber coming to this community, they've already been able to attract a new auto parts manufacturing facility and enabling a partnership between Tuskegee University and telehealth company OnMed. And this is how broadband is a key part of some of that industrial recruitment that our earlier speaker from Kentucky Power was talking about. The next step for us is to build a fund specifically dedicated to funding broadband builds in Appalachia. Just a few moments ago, I was talking about those 50 communities that we're working with the Appalachia Regional Commission and SOAR and many, many other partners to help support communities to develop these BEAD plans. Working with the Appalachian Community Capital, we are now building the Investing in Digital Equity in Appalachia Fund to help turn those plans into reality. This will be a $25 to $45 million fund, which in the spirit of blended finance I was just talking about will include a combination of senior and subordinated debt, equity, and grants. Because we know BEAD will not be enough, and we know that others are not going to be eligible. And we really worry about communities, especially communities in Appalachia, again, screwed again, being left to fall further behind just by staying where they are as society digitalizes around them. And it doesn't have to be this way. We're working to bring the right partners and the right capital together to support Appalachian communities to achieve digital equity and take control of their digital futures. And I hope you'll join us. Thank you.